Welcome back, fellow gamers. I want to talk to you today about the top 5 mono red commanders for Commander. So we'll look through this list, and one thing I want to keep in mind that I mentioned during my top 5 mono blue commanders is that my list is subjective. Your list will probably have different people on it. These are the ones that I most enjoy. Now, are they the most powerful? Maybe in some cases they'll be considered top of the mountain, but I do believe, and that wasn't an intentional pun, by the way, I do believe that these top 5 commanders that I have listed should slot in well into most play groups. I am not a competitive 1v1 player for Commander, so do keep that in mind if you're looking for the next best and greatest 1v1 list. This is probably not it. I am a casual person, and let's keep that in mind as we jump into number 5. At 5, we have FELDON of the Third Path. So this is an ability that I absolutely love. I love recursion. The fact that it's in red is actually pretty flavorful through the methodology that the card is employed. So the person, in this case FELDON, is resurrecting something he loves near and dear to his heart. Things that I have near and dear to my heart in this deck are cards like Wormcoil Engine, Mere Battlesphere, and cards like Bogarden Hellkite. This here is obviously, it's really fun to get these back out onto the battlefield and just benefit from the enter the battlefield abilities. But certainly there are a lot of other different synergies that can be had. He's pretty strong, pretty fun to play with, and it's one of the cards that I really enjoy. But let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we have KRENKO Havoc Razor. I love this card. I actually didn't know how powerful this would be until I played with KRENKO. I had hummed and hoed on what next general to make about a few months back, and then finally, like, you know what, I'll just pick KRENKO. I was actually trying to go for a different route, and as I was flipping my pages trying to get some inspiration, I'm like, I guess I'll play with this. I bought the foil, might as well use it. And as soon as I played with it, I realized how strong this card really is. Now, to be frank, I've actually never used his goad ability. So whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose one. So here it's you can goad target creature that player controls. I never use that. I use the second ability where it's exile the top card of that player's library until the end of turn. You may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. So this gets around the fact of, you know, you playing mono red, you can really start beefing up and taking the answers that people were gonna play and use it against them. It's really fun. I like using cards like Pyreheart Wolf. I mean, even Goblin War Drums gets a spot in this deck. I also play KRENKO Mob Boss. KRENKO Mob Boss is a great card to have in the 99 in most red decks because red plays a lot of goblins more often than not, or they can make tokens of goblins, which would then help KRENKO regardless. So you don't need a goblin theme to really run KRENKO. He pretty much takes care of himself, and you start getting a lot of tokens on the battlefield. You start attacking with a bunch of creatures. It is going to be hard for your opponents to keep up. Just swarm them with 1/1s, and that's essentially it. Like, get a lot of stuff that you can play for cheap early game, and it should take care of the rest as the game progresses. At number 3, we have Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. So Kiki-Jiki is a card that I really enjoy, just for the fact of just by being able to copy a bunch of your really good creatures. So if they have enter the battlefield abilities, and compound that if they have any abilities that trigger as they leave the battlefield, that's even better. But I play a lot of cards like Inferno Titan, Flame Tongue Kavu, Mindclaw Shaman, Duplicant. These are all great cards that I really enjoy playing with Kiki-Jiki. Kiki-Jiki is such a dangerous card if you have the right creatures. I mentioned a few of them, but there are so many artifact creatures. There are so many red creatures that are just too good not to put in this deck. So another one is Combat Celebrant. This card, as soon as I saw it, it was spoiled during the Amonkhet spoiler season. I'm like, this is going into a Kiki-Jiki deck, and we're going to have a good time with it. We're going to have a good time with it. It's even better also if you can combine it with some sort of sacrifice outlet that, you know, if you're going to lose your token at the end of your turn regardless, you might as well get some value off it. If you need extra mana, there's always ways of generating more mana for that. But enough about Kiki-Jiki. Let's go on to number 2. So I mentioned him before as one in the 99, but in a dedicated deck, KRENKO Mob Boss is a fast commander, and he is lethal. It's absolute insanity when you're really able to fire off with KRENKO. You get a lot of early goblins out and just keep piling it on, let alone the fact that you can even play boosters like Goblin War Chief or Goblin Chieftain or Goblin King maybe, and just make your 1/1s bigger, better, and harder to kill. So this here, it's a pretty straightforward deck. If you want to play a tribal deck, this is your go. If you want to play a goblin tribal deck, I don't think there's any other commander you should be playing except for KRENKO. KRENKO is fun. KRENKO is life. At number 1, we have PURPHOROS, God of the Forge. Now, PURPHOROS takes advantage of pretty much the other 4 cards that I mentioned here. By slotting those top commanders into the 99, you have yourself a good type. So with Kiki Jiki, you're obviously getting that extra card out that is able to deal 2 damage to each opponent. And if you get something like KRENKO out and you've got a lot of goblins out, well, you can 1-turn kill the whole table. A PURPHOROS player will either take PURPHOROS out early and then just keep taking people away, or they'll wait till the perfect opportunity until they have all the combo pieces ready and just plop down PURPHOROS and be done with it. Because there are a lot of cards that all of a sudden produce a lot of creatures. So like I mentioned KRENKO, but there's also Tempt with Vengeance, Firecat Blitz, and Mog Infestation are the main hitters in this deck that can really do damage. Things to keep an eye out for. These cards can all of a sudden come out of nowhere and just end the game for PURPHOROS. So there you have it. That's my top 5 list of commanders. For sure, it's going to differ than your top 5 list, so I would love to hear which ones got omitted or I left out. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear it. If you have any other video suggestions that you'd like to see, be sure to let me know either in the comments or hit me up on Twitter. Until next time, good gaming.